The United States holds the second highest rank for pesticide use in the world. With that being said, 200,000 people die from pesticide poisoning each year, without the consideration of numerous diseases that can form because of them. Pesticides should be banned in the United States. They are harmful chemicals that are used to deter pests from agricultural crops. Pesticides lead to a multitude of health issues and cause harm to the environment. Many countries are in the process of or have banned these substances. Therefore, there are many reasons to ban these substances. The exposure of pesticides have been linked to diseases such as cancer, neurodegenerative issues, neurotoxicity, and developmental complications. When people eat food that has been treated with pesticides, they are therefore ingesting these harmful chemicals. This alters the cell's ability to function properly and synthesize proteins, which can lead to inflammation, ultimately leading to other diseases like I mentioned. The nature of these pesticides is what makes them such a dangerous additive. Neurotoxicity can lead to neurodegenerative disorders, such as Down syndrome, depression, anxiety, and attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity disorder, so ADD and ADHD. Chemicals like this are drastically affecting our quality of life and should be banned. While these side effects are extremely serious, even somewhat minor symptoms can indicate that one is suffering from pesticide poisoning. Issues such as hormonal disruptions, coughing, skin irritation, flu-like symptoms, or autoimmune symptoms are all signs that one could be suffering from this. Many people who are experiencing health issues are not aware that pesticides could be the root of the problem. Unfortunately, standard health professionals are not always educated on the adverse effects of these chemicals and are not able to correctly advise one to reduce their exposure to them. Pesticides are also causing much harm to the environment. They are leading to water pollution and air pollution, which we already have enough of. Pesticides are made to kill, and that's what they're doing to our environment. Crops that utilize pesticides and certain farming techniques contribute to the contamination of water through irrigation canals. When these crops are watered and the pesticides have already seeped into the soil, this leads into our runoff, which is then put into the irrigation canals that are distributed to other farms and nearby communities. In turn, these dangerous chemicals are polluting our water and the soil that our crops are grown in, leading to so many possible health defects for humans as well as the surrounding environment. In addition to water pollution, pesticides have to be sprayed upon crops, which are carried through the air. This is what experts call drift. This exposes crop pickers, employers, nearby residents to the nearly airborne chemicals. Not only do pesticides contribute to water and air pollution, but they also have the crazy ability to mutate sex, which means that animals who are nearby are sometimes affected by this during the developmental stages of their lives, and sometimes these pesticides have the ability to mutate their sex. A study was done that showed that a tadpole during this developmental stage was actually exposed to an herbicide during the experiment, and the sex was changed completely. Imagine what these pesticides are doing to human health, and not just on something as small as a tadpole. Our environment suffers so many pollutants in the world, but pesticides are a large contributor to this. The exposure that Earth has to these chemicals is detrimental. While the environment suffers from these pesticides, some countries have realized the damage they are causing to our world in a multitude of ways. The United States is the number 2 contributor to these issues behind China. Pesticides, the stats for pesticide-linked diseases and disorders are much higher in the US than any other country in the world. The United States has staggering numbers for developmental disorders such as autism, ADD, ADHD, and basic learning disabilities. This does not account for stats on cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, reproductive dysfunction, and birth defects. The US has such high numbers for health complications, and while pesticide usage may not be the main cause, they're definitely linked back to these health complications. Some countries, like I said, have realized the detrimental effects of pesticides and have banned, if not all, some of them from within use of their country. The US is far behind other countries in banning certain pesticides. Countries such as Brazil and China are working to ban on these substances. They have realized the consequences people face and the environment when using them in agricultural practices. There are many different alternatives to preventing pests instead of using pesticides, such as crop rotation and cross farming. If the United States chooses to continue using these pesticides while knowing that they contribute to other diseases, the problem will only get worse and generations to come will have to suffer the consequences. There are many reasons why the United States should put a ban on these pesticides. And while the health of the people and the environment continues to worsen within the United States, other countries are realizing how much they are hurting.